What's going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super deck profile. Last two deck profiles we did seemed to do pretty well. You guys appreciated the uniqueness and the creativity. I do want to run something by you, though, real quick. I've gotten different feedback from different groups of people. Some people wanting a little bit of a shorter description on some of the card effects. I mean, I guess we can do it that way, or we can try it that way at least. The reason I don't do it that way is because a lot of newer players have come to my channel to learn how to play the game. They don't know what cards do. But I guess since the card is literally there in the video, we can just go over kind of a summary of what the effect does. That way we're not reading verbatim all the card effects. Might cut back a little bit on time, which might work out well for you guys. But I know some people are tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. But as the game continues to progress and get bigger and bigger and more successful, we're going to get more and more newer players. And I don't want them to look at a deck profile and then go, okay, I see what I need to use, but I don't really know what these cards do. Sure, you can read the cards, but some of the interactions and the wording, Bandai is not so great with. But anyway, so for those of you who have been around since my first couple deck profiles way back in Set 2, you guys will know that one of my favorite characters is Future Trunks. So I decided to go back and revisit that deck and kind of make some little tweaks to it with some of the newer support that we've gotten. And we've gotten pretty good results out of the deck. There's some room for improvement. Maybe some choice cards that we could or could not include. But all of that could also be just sitting in the side deck. So, without further ado, the leader, of course, is going to be our Future Trunks leader. If you combo with a card that costs 2 or more, you get to draw a card. So, really solid leader. You get combo power along with being able to keep your card advantage. Now, he is a draw 2 on Awaken leader, which I don't prefer anymore, but it's not terrible. And then on his Awaken side, he has the exact same once per turn effect, but you also draw a card when you attack. So you get to draw 2 cards every time he attacks as long as you combo. Not terrible. Not super great either, especially by some of the standards that we have now with leaders that have multiple effects. But still a good leader. I enjoy playing him, and of course, because I enjoy theme decks, he works perfectly well for the deck that we're about to show you guys. So first up, we wouldn't even have Future Trunks if it wasn't for Bulma. So we're running 4 Bulma Supporter of the Future. She just lets you search your deck for a Trunks 4 or less and add it to your hand. This is always going to be your turn 1 play. The reason you want this to be your turn 1 play is because, 1, you're getting a free card out of playing this. It is impossible to not get a card, because unlike other 1-drops that say search the top 3, search the top 7, where you can potentially whiff, you cannot whiff with Bulma. You are going to get a Trunks every time. It's impossible not to, unless, of course, they Cold Bloodlust or something. But, so we run 4 of her. You always want her to be your first play because you're going to get that card advantage. It's going to set you up for your next turn if you don't already have the cards, and it's extra combo power because once she gets her effect off, she's just there for the extra 5k. Now, one of the cards that you can search out for her, and this was one of my favorite cards when it was first revealed, and I enjoy using it a lot, is Determined Time Leaper Trunks. He's a 2-cost 10k. When he attacks, you can look at the top 7, add a Future Trunks to your hand, and he gains 5,000 power. So, 2-drop, 15k, that's pretty decent coming out on turn 2. And again, he gives you another Trunks to be able to continue your plays to make sure you have another option for the next turn. Super solid card in my opinion. Absolutely amazing art as far as this game goes. Not that this game has a lack of good art, but as far as Trunks cards go, that's definitely one of my favorite. Then another card you can play on turn 2, and this is a newer card that's become one of my favorites, is Trunks Hope of the Saiyans. Similar effect, although you only get to look at the top 3, and you can add a blue Saiyan to your hand. So this can add Goku's, Vegeta's, other Saiyans that you run in the deck, but he also is 15,000 all around. So even on your opponent's turn when they attack him, he's got 15,000. I still think the other one is a bit better for a full-on Trunks theme deck, but this Trunks is definitely not bad for searching out the other cards that you need as well. The next card in the deck is probably one of the most pivotal cards in the deck, and that is Trunks Hope at Hand. He's a 3-cost 15k with 2 really solid effects. The first one, his permanent, reduces the evolution cost of all future Trunks in your hand by 3. So, that's going to make your evolving into your future Trunks a lot easier. And then his activate main lets you place him at the bottom of the deck. And then if you had 4 more energy, you can play a Restless Spirit Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta from your hand. Now, the Vegeta in question, Restless Spirit Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, is a 4-cost 20k with Double Strike. And he says when you play this card, you get to reveal 1 card from the bottom of your deck. If it's a future Trunks, you get to play it, but its activate main is negated. So, this Vegeta is going to come out. You're going to replay the Trunks Hope at hand. His activate main cannot be used again, but his permanent effect would still be in play. The permanent is not negated. So, that evolution reduction is still going to be in play. Now, when you do that, ideally you want to attack with Trunks. You're going to activate main. You're going to put him at the bottom of the deck. Vegeta's going to come out. His effect's going to trigger. Trunks is going to come back out to the board. In which case, he can attack again, but you're probably not going to. You're going to probably want to leave him in active mode. And then you've got the Vegeta that you can attack with for 20k Double Strike. Now, if you do this on turn 5, you can do all of that and still be able to evolve your Trunks into Trunks the Constant Hope. This guy is a 6-drop, 25k. His evolve costs 2 blue and 3 other, but thanks to Hope at hand, he has -3 evolve cost. So you just have to evolve him for 2 blue. So ideally on turn 5, you can play this Trunks, get out the Vegeta, and evolve into this Trunks all in the same turn. Now his effects are pretty good, especially by standards, way back in set 2. When he attacks, you got to choose a blue battle card in your drop and combo with it. That includes super combos, so yes, you can get a free super combo every time he attacks or is attacked. So if your opponent attacks him, you could use a super combo in your drop. He's 35k. You're getting that draw constantly, which is one of the reasons I love this card. Now, if you have both a Goku and a Vegeta in your drop area, he gains triple strike. So, obviously we have Vegeta because we run the Restless Spirit Vegeta. But what about the Goku? So, I thought about that for a while, and I used to run Preface of Recovery, just because you could play it for 3, and then you got 2 energy back, so you're playing it for 1, but there wasn't really a reason to play it. So for the most part, it was in the deck, and I would just combo it. But with the releases at 7, we got a really solid Blue Goku to run in this deck, with Super Saiyan Blue Sun Goku, the Sweeper. He's only at 2 costs, so really cheap to play. 15k gives him some decent attacking power, but this card has 2 really good uses in the fact that when you play him, you can add a card from your life to your hand. So it helps with the Self-Awakening a little bit. And you can choose an opponent's battle card for or less, return it back to their hand. So it gives you a way to Self-Awaken, and it gives you a card to snipe cards from your opponent's board. I hate that they go back to the hand, but it is still a way to get them off the board. Your opponent does have to play them again, use the energy again. So really solid. And if you don't ever end up playing him, you can still just combo him away. He is a 2 cost, so it would trigger the leader's ability, and you would still get the draw off of that ability. That gives you both a Goku and a Vegeta for the Constant Hope to get the Triple Strike. Now, Triple Strike plus comboing with a Super Combo, that's Triple Strike 35,000 without you losing any card advantage. That's pretty damn powerful. Alternatively, if you don't want to go with Constant Hope, you can also run what is easily one of my new personal favorites, Super Saiyan 3 Trunks Saiyan Harmonizer. He's one of the new Infinite Saiyan rares that we got. 4 cost, 20k, Double Strike. You can only play him if you have blue in your deck. When you play him, you can't play another one for the rest of the turn. And when he attacks, you can choose all battle cards in your drop area with no keyword skills and combo with them. So, any non-keyword battle cards you can combo with for free. So if your deck has a decent bit loaded up, you're going to combo for a decent chunk at 20k Double Strike plus whatever you're comboing, which is really not bad, especially for a 4-drop. And then once per turn for 4 energy, you can draw 2 and switch him to active mode. So assuming he lives on the next turn, then he's going to stay alive. Now, there are a few different options of cards you can take advantage of that with. Cards like that Vegeta, or not Vegeta, cards like the Goku, because he doesn't have a keyword. Cards like The 2-drop trunks, they have auto abilities. That's not a keyword. So you can combo with those and just have at it. Now, unfortunately, you can't combo with a super combo because that is a keyword, which really sucks because it'd be nice to just go in with at least 30k every time. But there is a way to still do that. Now, I don't have the card in this particular deck because it is so tight for space with the Gokus and such. But one of the best cards to take advantage of with this particular Trunks is going to be the new Shu Deluge of Power. Basically works as a super combo with no draw. He's a plus 5,000 power, but if you combo with a blue battle card, he gains an additional 5,000. So, like I said, super combo without the draw, and you can combo with him from the drop area with Trunks. So he's going to be at least 30,000 every time he attacks with that double strike, which is pretty massive. If he happens to survive, and you can use his activate main to be able to switch him back to active mode, you pretty much are going to win that turn, or they're going to have no cards in their hand once they've, exhausted all resources to try and stop you. Then, ever since I've built this deck way back in set 2, I found myself unable to remove this card from the deck. It is for my Supporter of Hope. She's basically just a free blocker as long as there's a Trunks on the board, but since your leader's Trunks, she's always a free card. She's also a 2-drop, so you can combo her if you need to get the draw ability. Free blockers are always a decent card to have if you have the space. If you have to force it into the deck, it's not really worth it. But if it's that easy to put in the deck, it's always good to be able to have that kind of free defense, especially with Shenron decks or Victory Strike, stuff like that. And then, of course, we've got our super combo, Great Saiyaman. I always use the Sparking super combos unless I absolutely need to be running, like, Overrealm. But we couldn't run Overrealm in this anyways because we run the Super Saiyan 3 Trunks. You could kind of work around that since the Trunks only checks the drop, the field, energy. If the card is still in your life, your deck, or your hand, it doesn't check for that, but that's really gimmicky to try and do that, play him, then Overrealm, plus you're kind of getting in the way of his ability anyways. Speaking of his ability, another card you can use off of that Trunks' ability is Unyielding Spirit Trunks. I still run one in every blue deck possible because it's just a fantastic card, and I feel like there's no reason not to run it. I've been running it at 4 since it was released until it was limited to 1, and I'm hoping eventually it'll come back. Though I know several people that do not want it to come back. Sorry, guys. Then, since we run the Trunks leader, I always like to run Trunks Time Machine. It's only 1 cost, so if you don't have a Bulma, turn 1, you can play this as an alternative, and you get to search the top 10 cards of your deck, add a Goku, a Trunks, or a Vegeta. So we've got several targets for that, a lot of targets. So it's impossible to miss. You may not get one you want, but it's impossible to miss with it. And then if you happen to have 4 more energy, you get to untap an energy. So it becomes a free searcher. So that's a really nice card that I like with this leader. And then, lastly, we'll get into staples for blue. Obviously, we run 4 Sensu Bean. I feel like it's less of a staple now than it used to be. But if you can find room, I still don't see any reason not to run Sensu Bean. Especially because if you have a deck that can take advantage of just, 1 or 2 free energy, then it's really worth running. Not so much for the +5, but just for that extra energy on tap. And then lastly, speaking of energy on taps, we run 4 Dimension Magic. This one doesn't really help out so much as far as getting us to be able to extend our plays like Sensu Bean does or like the Unyielding Spirit Trunks, but it does still give us outs for defense. We can Dimension Magic and activate the Sparking ability, and then if by chance we have a Sensu Bean, we can play that and give ourselves more energy, which we don't really need with this deck, at least not defensively, so... but Dimension Magic is really nice for that untap. Now, as far as side decking goes, there's a few different options. As I already mentioned, Shu Deluge of Power is a good one, just because everything in this deck is blue. Now, if you had cards that your opponent played that you needed to get off the board relatively quickly early on in the game, say it had barrier or whatever, and that Goku the Sweeper wasn't cutting it because it has barrier, then I would side out a couple of the Trunks, a couple of the 2-drops, and side in Trunks the Sweeper. He lets you choose a battle card 2 or less and ignore Barrier and return it to the hand. So while he's only 10k, it's not really a big deal. You can still combo him away to get the draw, and you get to remove a card from your opponent's board. Again, I hate that it goes to the hand because then you can't really, permanently remove that threat. But they're going to have to play it again if they want to continue with that line of play. Now, if you don't care so much about running the Constant Hope Trunks, the good old 6-drop, you could take him out. You could even take out the Goku the Sweepers. You could instead run Son Goku Path to the Infinite. I think this is a decent card because the leader's blue. It costs 1 blue energy. You could return a 4-drop, being the Vegeta, to your hand to play him. And then if you wanted to, you've got open energy. You could turn around and play like Ultimate Spirit Bomb Goku, or I know a lot of people prefer the Ultra Instinct Sign Goku, which is a really, really powerful card, a good finisher as well. And I feel like this would be a really solid option for that. If you wanted to have a little bit more control in the deck, you could even take out the Super Saiyan 3 Trunks and run stuff like Undying Spirit Son Gohan, which is one of my all-time favorite cards. He's basically a counterplay. If you have a multicolor card in your energy, then you would be able to reduce his energy by 1 in your hand, so you'd play him for 2, and then you would choose a battle card. When he came into play, you would choose one of your opponent's battle cards 4 or less, return it to their hand, and then, since it was their turn, you'd be able to switch one of your energy to active mode. So he'd basically be a 15k for 1, and he would bounce whatever card back to your opponent's hand. Now, you would have to have a multicolored card in your deck. So what I would recommend, I don't have a copy in front of me, is the the blue-yellow Beerus from set 7 that has energy exhaust but allows you to ignore that if you already have one in your energy. That would be a fantastic way to be able to take advantage of Undying Spirit Gohan. And then if you're running, blue-yellow, then you can run other defensive, more control yellow staples like Flying Nimbus or even Crusher Ball, which I prefer that over Flying Nimbus. There's also the new, what was that card called? It was a newer yellow card that recently came out. I think I have a copy somewhere. This one here. You could even run Paternal Bonds, which is a really solid new negate that we have. Basically, you choose one of your opponent's cards in rest mode, or you negate the attack, choose one of your cards, switch it to rest mode, and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. So you get to stop 2 attacks for 1 energy, which is not bad at all. Granted, Flying Nimbus does the same thing, but it requires you to discard a card, and it requires you to discard yellow. And with this deck, depending on how much yellow you added, that might not be so nice. One final card you could add in as well if you wanted to do blue-yellow is you could do the new secret rare Vegito Zamasu Patara card. I mean, it would still cost 5 to play it, but you would tap 4 of your opponent's energy, you would draw 4 cards, and then you've got a 40,000 triple strike that you can just dump all your cards into and just completely annihilate your opponent in one fell swoop. But, so, that's kind of what I've come up with for Trunks. I've got another idea for a Trunks deck that I will run by you guys at a later time. I wanted to get this one out first so I can kind of showcase this one before I take it apart to build the other one. But this one's a lot of fun too. I don't actually know that the other Trunks deck will be as viable. I don't know that it will work as well, but I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out and getting to showcase it for you guys. But with that, we're going to wrap this deck profile up here. This was a little longer than I wanted this one to be, but going ahead and doing the side deck options and kind of different ways that you could switch up the deck if you didn't like cards here and there. I thought that would be a little bit more informative and kind of explaining some of the decisions we made with this deck. So let me know suggestions you may have for the deck, or what you think of the deck. If you want to try it out, let me know what you think. If you guys have any suggestions for any other decks you want to see, just let me know in those comments below. You guys know I love interacting with you guys and having all these discussions about the card game. For those of you that saw, we were supposed to have a stream on, I don't remember what day it was, Tuesday I think. Some stuff happened. So long story short, we're probably going to push that stream back to Friday. I would do it tonight, but I have some important shit I have to do tonight and tomorrow night, unfortunately. So Friday's going to be our best bet. I'm going to get everything taken care of early in the morning, and then Friday night around like 9, we'll go ahead and do a live stream, and we'll have a whole bunch of discussion stuff about this game. We'll probably take a couple hours to discuss it, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I know we've made this video drag on long enough, so we're going to go ahead and get the frig out of here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.